Below are the things that I summarize from the clients and myself that I've seen that could be prevented, could be improved, could be really changed if you are actively trying to change your communication style. First one is being too passive, as in always waiting for the authority or people in the hierarchy to initiate. Even they have something they want to express, they just don't know how to initiate or don't know when and how, what is appropriate to express and initiate. But the end result of being too passive, it's passive aggressive, not happy silently inside, don't want to go to work, don't want to talk to the manager or boss. The second one is too late to convey the message across. I always have clients having an interview the next day and then the day before come to me, never prepared for interviews or panicking. It is going to be a process preparing that. And also there are times, couldn't stress enough, prepare and communicate with your manager before the final performance review. Don't wait until they've already come out with a result with the higher management team of how much percentage, what's the percentage they're going to increase. At that point, it's just too late. So it's always going to be a process, and you want to prepare as early as possible. Or let me rephrase, you want to start practicing and stretching yourself, learning and growing on the things that matters to you in terms of communication as soon as possible, so that eventually when it comes to the most challenging situation, you can utilize the skills and your experiences. Thirdly, not asking or fighting for what you want. One of the biggest mistakes that I learned throughout career, it's never other people's responsibility to try to understand you, to give you what you want, to make it easy for you. So it's your responsibility to really ask for it, clearly stand up for yourself for it, and sometimes fight for it. And when I say fight, it could be a process again. And this is coming back to expressing your truth. Small things can accumulate when you're not happy with this, or sometimes in a meeting, I just don't feel it was the topic of the meeting, or sometimes the internal dialogue can be, I'm not important to talk about this, or it's not the time, it's not up to me. That kind of internal dialogue will eventually, trust me, accumulate and explode. And bad things could happen from there. You will leave the job permanently. I have clients who just eventually came out and write a really long ass article about the whole management team, and then being sacked and then also banned by several companies in the same industry, all because she was suppressing herself so much to a point that it just came out really badly and emotionally as well. Fourth mistake that I've seen people doing is don't have a clear personal purpose or strategy that serves them when it comes to communication. A common example is when people say networking and they just really go out and network and trying so hard, doing something so uncomfortable without knowing why they're doing it for themselves. Do they even need to do it? For example, I always have clients saying, oh, I need to be on LinkedIn a lot more, and then not thinking what works for them on LinkedIn. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. If everyone else is sharing, article, you don't necessarily have to do that. Or if everyone else is just sharing their success or selling themselves, you don't have to do that. Knowing the purpose, the strategy that serves you. And that comes down to having a clear boundary, knowing and clarifying and sticking to things that you accept or do not accept at work, in a work situation, communication, knowing how to say no as well. And lastly, is not utilizing that network. As I mentioned earlier, whether you want it or you don't want it, you are building a network anyways, because you're communicating with people at work. So it's about a matter of how do you utilize that, and how do you deliberately, consciously, mindfully started to have a purpose with it. How do you take action that's going to work for you, for your long-term career goal? Okay, now let's move on to, we've shared what didn't work, what's not working, what could be a mistake. Let's move on to